Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon. Hajinjo here, back with another quick movie review. This one is the third Resident Evil CG movie, Resident Evil Vendetta. Um, Start off in the game's timeline. Ouch! I just really scratched my head super hard, and it hurts. In the game's timeline, I believe it takes place. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Resident Evil. I think it's right after six. Yeah, it's right after six because Leon's in this too, and Chris, and they're teaming up again. And again, like the other ones, it's a pretty good story, even if you take the Resident Evil lore out of it and put original characters. Rebecca Chambers from Resident Evil Zero and One makes her return to the series after being gone for a very long time. If you play the game, she's like a medic, and even on this, she's one of the key main characters in the plot. Because the new villain is making a new virus that's technically dormant inside of everyone. It's pretty much a trigger. Well, I think it's a plot hole because spoiler alert, the people who are infected with the virus they live in the northern parts of the United States, right around the Great Lake, and that water supply has been contaminated. Apparently, everyone who's been infected has been in that area. And in the story, Rebecca's in Chicago, and she was the only one that noticed that pattern. It's not like everyone in the world is. That was a small plot hole that I had caught because they first she said I can't well actually I can't remember which piece that came first, but Rebecca stated that the virus was in everyone, and then later Leon and Chris look at the laptop, and as she's talking over the voiceover, that's when she says, "I noticed that all the outbreaks have been happening in those northern areas, so places like Chicago, Detroit, Ohio, Michigan, uh, New York. Those people were infected, and it was a very slick way because the virus it was called the A virus, and it had three stages. And It was very weird. I don't think they explained it as well because the guy that made the virus, he was making it and putting it on a black market, and whoever was in possession of it, it was they can use the zombified, people as weapons to literally tell them to attack a certain person. It's not like they were mindless zombies walking around. They really didn't. They stated that the trigger, but they really didn't state how it was controlled, or if they did, I probably wasn't paying attention because I saw the movie twice. So, I think that's what was a small plot hole. I'm assuming you inject yourself with one of the pathogens that doesn't turn you, but it gives you like control. Yeah, but it's just kind of weird because, like I said, they didn't explain it. I've been sitting there thinking of it. I was thinking like with the parasite, like a dog whistle sound, like Ada explained in the game. It was controlled by some kind of by the cult leader in Resident Evil 4, but they still didn't really explain that very well. Uh, so again, hopefully they'll have some more in line detail. They could possibly make a new monsters thing off of that. But getting on the technical side, the CG in this was very 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 good. What I noticed is that there were a lot of dark elements, and even in the beginning of the movie, it went back to Resident Evil one, and it was very claustrophobic. But what I noticed is that they explored the whole mansion. Yeah, excuse me, the mansion wasn't the whole focus of it, as even what you can see on the title card. Even looking at the stuff behind the scenes, it looks a lot different. When it's nice, clean, and polished versus the creepy outlook they had put on it. Um, Another new technical thing, or some more added information. The dogs appeared in this. They were also done very well. It was very reminiscent of the game. That was about the one classic Resident Evil monsters thing, as well as the zombies that were in this movie. Uh, this is the first movie, or even in the franchise as a whole, they actually reference the actual city, and they actually go to that city, which is New York, and in Chicago, I believe, because Rebecca's working as a professor in at one of the universities. Um, they had a nice little bit by bit, references. Two of the characters reference Breaking Bad. There's a whole bunch of more in-game real-world stuff. The Ducati has an appearance in this. Capcom actually worked with the Ducati bike manufacturing company, and it was a lot of these little things that I noticed because in the past, of course, even when you're dealing with video games licenses, there's certain things you can't do, like you can't use certain model cars. Hell, even the guns that they use, they if you play the game, they rename them so they won't get sued by anyone. So if you played any of them, any hardcore Resident Evil fan knows, and even games like Grand Theft Auto, they done the same thing. They changed the cars, and at times they give the guns just basic names. It's nothing, it's not like a military shooter like Call of Duty. So it's kind of funny how they're they in the past were limited on it, but in this one they went full out. One of my favorite scenes in this, it kind of reminded me of even though I didn't see the movie yet, John Wick. It was the zombie fight hallway scene. A lot of people seen it on YouTube. Between Leon and it was with Leon and Chris tag teaming, and after seeing this, that's something I want to see on The Walking Dead, but I know they would never do it because you know, the zombies on The Walking Dead seem a little bit more realistic with their movements. They'll bite you in an instant. And even when they shoot behind the scenes, they even tell them, to keep going. Yeah, they don't tell them. Someone's telling me they don't tell them the scripted part, but I could be wrong because I've seen a couple of the zombie extras read the script beforehand. So yeah, they know how to pre-plan their movements beforehand and make it look like someone's about to get bit. But just the way how they made the quick camera work and the fighting, it was really done well. Even the fight scene with Chris and the main villain Glenn, it reminded me of something out of Equilibrium. He didn't have any superhuman enhancements. He was just really good in military combat, especially when he had the rifle in his hand. I can't remember what they call that in the Marines, but if you see the movie Major Payne, they had a routine with the rifle, but of course the rifle that the kid had in the movie was different from, the one that Chris has. But it was just, good, military movement. And what I did like about this is the villain in this. Even though it was kind of skewed, so pretty much the military had bombed his wedding, but apparently he was a weapons dealer before the whole major conflict, and he just figured he'll use bioweapons to officially get his revenge. And like I said, I am kind of skewed because they really didn't explain that much into him. Like, they didn't say who he was selling it to or if he had an additional motive to why he was selling bioweapons. But he's like, okay, he was a bad guy to begin with. It's really not that much sympathy except, the people at his wedding were killed, which is the messed up part. Because at that point, it does make the government look bad. It's one thing if you're targeting him because of what he did, which is understandable, but you bombed and killed a whole bunch of people, and yeah, I'm just not going to speak on that piece of my opinion anymore. But this one is really really good. Highly recommend if you watch. Even one of my older friends who are at work, he said he saw this, he really liked it. It was tight. He didn't say he watched the other two, but I think what really sold it was that fight scene in the hallway with the zombie horde. And like I said, if you watch it, it looked like somebody had watched John Wick a couple of times, and of course the movie Equilibrium, because even when they were shooting at each other at close range, they never hit each other, and they just knew how to, especially the bad guy, he knew how to move and get out of, dodge really quick. So yeah, that's pretty much my review. Talk to you guys in the next one. The next one is definitely going to be somewhat of a controversial statement depending on who watches it and they actually listen to what I have to say. I'm not going to say what the movie is, but yeah, again, I'll see you guys in the next review and talk to you guys later. Peace.